This doesn't make any sense. Okay, there. What the hell was that? That was so weird. Alright, sorry about that. We should be good now. What am I doing?
Find it! Find it! Reza, what are you doing? Hurry, Reza!
What am I doing?
Open the door.
Quickly, Reza! Find it! Find it! It's too late, Reza! Leave it! Come on, we have to go!
Okay, okay.
What the hell was I doing?
Freeze! You want some of this? Come on!
Where's Bibi? بيتش كنار. Where's Shihab? تكون ناخذ.
What? What the hell was that?
He ran because of the great leadership of the Shah is an island
Yeah,
developed.
like, oh, you couldn't click while we're moving it all over the place. Ha ha, you're stuck. Like, wait, what? I don't.
Things that I'd rather not even remember.
That day I wake up early and I went to Charlie Square.
The split in the revolution is already open and threatens to become wider and more dangerous.
Basically, we believe in the same principles, in the same ideals.
Violence in Iran has escalated sharply
Me.
in recent months.
Nope.
The main targets have
We
been
can't skip.
stores, nightclubs, fashionable restaurants.
Well, all right. I am into comics. What comics are you referring to? Which ones?
You're a very lucky man, Master Shirazi. In my former life, I wouldn't have let you live.
What kind of comics are you
You must
into?
read.
Hang on. I'm gonna pause the game. You want to talk comics? I'll pause. X-Men, especially Wolverine. Read, if you haven't yet, read Old Man Logan. That is by far the best Wolverine comic ever, in my opinion. I don't know if you caught earlier, but Saga is a really good one if you're into Star Wars, kind of meets Game of Thrones, meets Romeo and Juliet kind of thing. Yeah. So the Hulk is actually an old dude who was banging his cousin She-Hulk, and they have these really dumb, idiot, inbred kids that are running around that are just mindless morons that are just strong, like, let's go kill stuff. It's a really, really good story. Hawkeye is blind, and Wolverine is a pacifist. Can't really say much more than that because that's pretty awesome. Another X-Men type thing. Get a hold of Cable and Deadpool. Yeah. Old Man Logan is fantastic, dude. There is a, let's see if I can... I think it's this one. Yeah, so here's Old Man Logan. But this hardback book, I would recommend. It has quite a few Wolverine stories in it. Let me just make sure. I think this is it. No, that's not it. Crap. I thought that was. Yeah. I am a huge proponent for art in my comics. To understand which part of the Marvel Universe you want to understand, man. There's so much in there. If you have... if you want to go more of the scientific side, get into... Fantastic Four and Ant-Man. That'll give you more the idea of the Pym particles and how Ant-Man comes around and how those two are pretty much responsible for a lot of the stuff that goes on in the Marvel Universe. If you want to do more X-Men type stuff, 187 is a really, really good event that happened. If you're into, oh yeah, Wolverine's by far, I love how he got so visceral later. I can't recall if there was ever any Wolverine Max series, which Max is the bit that Marvel has where they do more of their grown-up type stuff, to where it's, we have these, like Punisher Max was when Garth Ennis was writing it. That comic alone got me back into comic reading, or actually really got me into it. I was just kind of tiptoeing around before. I was like, oh, Wolverine's cool, Batman's cool, blah, blah, blah. But Punisher Max is by far one of my most favorite comics. Just finally letting Punisher unleash and get to where he can actually be him instead of constantly held back because of the PG nature of most comics as it is now. There was the Marvel Knights series that tried to go a little bit that direction, but didn't really work all that well. The Max version of Marvel actually works really, really well. And if there were a Wolverine Max, I would say jump on it, because if it's anything like the Punisher Max, it's going to be awesome. The Death of Wolverine, this one here, was actually a really good one. I enjoyed that one. McGiven does really good art. If you're wanting just Wolverine style or X-Men style.
Hello. Follow me. Okay.
Thanks for the follow, man. If you're wanting Wolverine style, you have to read Old Man Logan. That's like a must. Yeah, they really killed him. Now, it's not like they did in the Fantastic Four when Jonathan Hickman was writing it. He had said he wanted to kill off one of the members of the Fantastic Four, and they said, okay, well, we'll let you build up to it. And he said, my only thing is that if I come in, I want it to be done. Like, he's done and gone. And they left who they killed out for a while, which if you look at the FF series, Spider-Man takes the place of the Human Torch, which I always thought Thing was going to die. Laura is in the comics. Laura is actually X-23. That's X-23. She is the second child of Wolverine. The first one was Daken, which has the same claw style as X-23. But X-23 has ones that come out of her feet as well, which makes her a little bit more unique, as you can see here. Yeah, well, X-23, like, if you remember, Wolverine was known as Weapon X, which means he was the 10th weapon made by that corporation. Well, X-23 is the 23rd one, so they've gotten better. And her backstory is actually really, really sad and depressing, but it really gets you behind the character. There is, let's see, X-23. This is where it starts. This is awesome. You get to actually see her start off as a kid and how she really doesn't want to do this, and she only will talk to a certain number of people, and she's very quiet and very reserved. It's an awesome read. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I wish I would have gotten the comics as they came out, but this is definitely really, really awesome. I don't really like how they're kind of portraying her as this now, though. It's like the all-new Wolverine. If you're more of a fan of Wolverine, I would just go with the Old Man Logan. I wouldn't worry about going and doing X-23 yet. Read Old Man Logan just because it's a great little offshoot. It's Wolverine down the road. And you could almost say that since Wolverine's lived as long as he has, which we find out from the horrible adaptation of X-Men Origins Wolverine, he's lived for a long time. So it's almost like he's at the end of the line to where all the friends that he's made since we've been reading about him are about to die. Or they're getting close to that point. Hawkeye's hella old. He's blind. And yet he's the one driving the Jeep. It's really funny. But you get to the point to where you kind of go, okay, we're gonna just kind of see what it's like to be Wolverine at the end of that transition. He kind of goes into more of the pacifist role of, you know, I don't want to do this anymore, taking a break from it until he gets a calling or whatever. And the Old Man Logan story actually kind of takes place, I feel like, at that point to where you're almost at the transition of everyone going. I say give it a read. If you enjoyed that, then go read X-23. There's not X-23s mentioned in Old Man Logan, so it's not like you're going to be missing out on anything because you didn't read X-23 before it. But it's another good storyline that's still in the Marvel and X-Men universe. If that's who you're liking and that's who you want to go with, I say, you know, give it a whirl, because like, she's a badass, and I don't know, she's almost more primal and cold and caustic than Wolverine ever was, because Wolverine was just kind of a loner. She's more of a everything and everyone needs to die. It isn't the adamantium that kills him. I don't want to to say how he dies in the Death of Wolverine, but needless to say, it was definitely an ending that I found to be interesting, because it was almost like, oh duh, it was that easy. Just once you have it in your head, it's really plain and simple. I don't know. I love the combat nature of X-23. The fact that she has blades on her feet, so she's not just standing there throwing punches, so to speak. You know, she's actually, you know, slicing people up, feet and everything. It's awesome. If you like Wolverine, you'll probably definitely like X-23. Of course, people get a little bit too grossly absurd with some of it, but yeah, I almost find her to be more cold and caustic than Wolverine ever was. Yeah. Who else is another good one? Yeah, Cable and Deadpool is another really good one. It's very highly entertaining. Nope, that's not how he died. That's not how he dies. I think Deadpool is one of those characters that after you read a lot of comics, or you start kind of getting to the point to where it gets almost stale or very formulaic, throwing Deadpool into the mix revitalizes everything. So once you've read enough Batman, or you've read enough Superman, you've read enough X-Men, you've read enough Incredible Hulk and Iron Man and Thor and all that stuff, and then you go to Deadpool, you start to realize what Deadpool is actually doing, and it makes you like the character even more. There is times where he gets annoying and obnoxious, but he always walks the walk as well as talks the talk, and I've always enjoyed that part. Yeah. Let's see, who else? X-Force was a good run. X-Factor is another good one, especially if you get into the ones with multiple man. X-Factor. No, this one, damn it. The original. There it is. This version of X-Factor I found to be a lot more fun than this one. So I think it's Jamie Madrox, I think is his name. Multiple Man. And then that's Strong Guy. This one I found to be a lot of fun, because I've always found that when you do X-Factor or X-Force, you start getting into yeah, there you go. I forgot Wolverine was in X-Force. You start getting into a lot of the characters that are kind of behind the scenes or are very not well known, like Archangel and Warpath, as well as Domino, Psylocke, Wolverine, you know, Agent Zero. Like, it was always a good series. I enjoyed it. When Cable was in there, it was okay. When he and Deadpool left, I felt it got better. Apparently, they've added in what's her face? X-23 into it. But find this version of X-Force. This is a really good one. Psylocke I always thought was awesome. She kind of got underplayed a lot. Nightcrawler got underplayed a lot until the second X-Men movie. Then people started to kind of pay attention to how cool you could make him in the movie. Even though in the comics, everything I read, whenever he does his teleport, it smells of sulfur, boiling rotten eggs, so it's insanely potent and disgusting. And he always has to be able to see where he goes, and the movie kind of underplays that. Who has a real role in the comics? Domino's badass. Oh, Nightcrawler, yeah. Yeah. The only thing is that with Nightcrawler, like I said, he always has to be able to see where he teleports. He just can't go wherever he wants. And they do actually tell you that in the movie. Or if he can't see it, he has to be familiar with it. Like, it has to be like his bedroom. He could teleport there because he's familiar with it. It's kind of like what they do in Jumper, which was a decent premise for a movie, just poorly executed, and Hayden Christensen. Yeah, those are some nice little jump-off spots. Here's the original X-Force. You had Feral. That's Warpath, Domino, Cable. I want to say that's Boom Boom, I think. And I don't remember this guy. But X-Force has gone through a lot of changes. This is when I felt X-Force was at its best. Or even here, I think is a better picture for it. Yeah, if you're a fan of Wolverine, this is where he kind of takes the leadership role and is just like, let's go kick some ass. Whatever ass we need to kick, that's what ass we need to kick. Let's go do it. And it really got me liking Psylocke. Not only is she hot, but she's also a really formidable assassin, because I think that was how she first got introduced, was that she was trying to kill somebody, and then they ended up getting rid of whatever was plaguing her mind, and now she all of a sudden can just be like, alright, well, I'm good. Let's go kick some ass. But Warpath is amazing. That dude is awesome. And it also might get you to where, since Deadpool's not in the forefront so much, or not the main star, you might actually start to kind of have some appreciation for him. If not, I mean, you don't. But meh, I find that he always breathes some light into everything. Because he does kind of make fun of the comic world as a whole. Another really good... Oh, God. She had her own solo run. No... Yeah, this run was awesome. Another guy I was talking about earlier, Brian K. Vaughan, does an amazing job really fleshing out Mystique and really giving you an idea of how much of an in-depth and amazing character she is, and how much Jennifer Lawrence bullshitted her way through just destroying one of the most interesting characters. Like, if you ever read any Batman comics, she is pretty much right up there with like Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman, to where she'll do good things for the wrong reasons, and she'll do wrong things for good reasons, to where she has this kind of dichotomy that you really can't put a handle on because you just don't quite know what her intentions are. Is she legit in her intentions, or is she putting stuff in play that is going to actually benefit her later because she's found ways to manipulate people down the line? It's an excellent, excellent character that just gets crapped on. What up, Obi? Yeah. That's about all I can really go on the X-Men universe. I hope that kind of helps give you a little bit of an idea of a little bit more comics. Do with the mask and blood under it from Watchmen. Are you talking about Rorschach? Talking about this guy here? What do you want to know? I know a little bit. I did watch the movie. I didn't read the books. It is not blood. If you look up, so I was asked this before about why Rorschach's face always changed. Well, a Rorschach Inkblot test is where you take a piece of paper and you fold it in half and then you unfold it and you put a little bit of ink right in the middle and then you just mush the paper together and then you unfold it. And it's, what does this picture look like to you? It's symmetrical on both sides. And if you look, every time you see his face, it's always completely split down the middle. What is on the left is the same thing that's on the right. And because no one Rorschach test looks like another one, his face constantly changes. So it just adds to the dynamic of the character. So it's not blood so much as, I would almost call it like a magically induced mask. Like I know of no other way to describe it, but it's not blood under it. It's just the style of the character itself. And even in the comics, as you go through them, it becomes a lot more apparent that every time you see his face, it changes. It's still the same outfit of the trench coat and the done up all tightly in the hat and everything that you see here. It's just the face always changes. Because he doesn't ever want to be tied down to a very specific identity other than the clothes that he's wearing. So it's a little different on that end. But that's why his face is always changing. As far as more of the lore behind it, I don't know. I haven't read the comic series. I'm not as well versed in these guys as I am in anything else. So on that note, I can't actually say, oh, well, if you do this, that's why. So, yeah. I don't know if I helped anything out at all or if I heard anything. If you understand, if you don't, but that's what I've come to understand about Rorschach. It's a really cool character, and I think he was the only one in it's a happy little mask. Yeah. No, and you know, that's why I wanted to kind of do just something a little different with my stream today for a little while. I wanted to, if people had questions about it or I could offer recommendations, I would say if you missed the first part before I stopped the stream and restarted to figure out what was going on with the game, go to my YouTube channel. Since you're on Twitch, go down below, hit the link, and then in a little while, the first half of the stream will be up. Look up Saga. Look up Why the Last Man. I can't say enough praises about those two. If you're into, they're not superhero type comics, more just like other. Thank you for the sub, Felix Willer-Sauser. Sorry, that came and went really fast on my screen. Willer-Schauser. And now Obi is going full on Batman. So yeah, that little bit will give you a little bit more idea of the characters in those. I can't say enough good praises about Saga. I can't say enough good praises about Why the Last Man. Why the Last Man has a very definitive end. Brian K. Vaughan has already finished wrapping that series up, and it is freaking amazing. I find Saga to be a little bit higher, even though everyone that I've talked to is always kind of flipped. The Flash isn't bad. Read the Jeff Johns version. This one. Read this version. I have to say that the New 52 owes a lot to Scott Snyder and Jeff Johns for the work they were doing. I'm not a big DC fan, but I do love Jeff Johns. It's actually a really close to the show-ish. It does have... It goes into almost as much serious tones, and I think the show was taken from the series, so you're gonna have a lot of things that are very similar. I do believe it was in Jeff Johns' version though, where there was talks of the Flash wanting to race Superman again, and Superman was just kind of going off on him, saying, you know, I've already embarrassed you once before. You know, it's not really going to be that great. And Flash goes, oh, come on, man. I was only jogging last time. And and I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the exact wording. But just the way that was done was so great. And he just burns and hauls ass. It's awesome. And having that little bit of jokey humor or whatever is right up Flash's alley. Which is where, yes, it is. It is very much reminiscent of Smallville. But I do like how they're starting to tie the Flash universe in with Arrow. So I do enjoy that they're actually starting to try and combine these and make them be more than they were before. And especially explaining why Flash wears this certain suit and all this other kind of stuff. It's a really good show. I enjoy it. I think... I understand Superman as an icon. I am not a real personal fan because for me, Superman he wins too often or wins almost every time. It's just kind of meh. But if you ever get a chance to read Superman Unchained, once again to the Google. If you get a chance to read this, holy crap, please do. Scott Snyder is another character or writer I really, really enjoy, and Jim Lee is always amazing. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. Jim Lee is one of like the top artists in the comic book era, and Superman Unchained is awesome as hell. It didn't run for more than just like a thick hardcover book, but yes. The thing is that it's hard to make a good Superman movie because the Batman v Superman was stupid. It's like, he's gonna kill Martha. Like, why would you ever talk about your Earth mom in her first name? Why did you say that name? Like, I feel that movie was just made because it went, oh, it's Martha and Thomas Wayne, and it's Martha Kent. And? Like, you're gonna really tie Batman and Superman together like that? Go, now we fight together. Look how great of friends we are. It's like, it was weak. It was so weak. The whole premise of them not killing each other was poised on one sentence. No. So I've come to the realization that DC makes good TV shows. Marvel, not so much. Marvel makes good movies. DC, not so much. Here. Watch this. Watch this little movie here. If anything, this movie is what Suicide Squad should have been. And it wasn't. If it was, Suicide Squad would have blown open the doors. But instead, they're just kind of neatly closed. No, like there's just a piece of string that says, please don't open. And people are like, okay, we won't. And they move on. This would have just, there would have been no doors. All you really had to do was make a live action version of this shit. And it would have been amazing. This movie is awesome. If you watch Assault on Arkham and then Suicide Squad, you might change your mind. But I did not like Suicide Squad. The trailers didn't do anything for me, and then the little bits of the movie that I saw before I went, this is stupid. I'm like, nope, I'm out. Like, yeah, holy crap. There was so many cool things that they did that was just awesome. And then you just kind of screw it all up. And they seem to do it again and again and again with DC movies. That's why I got to be more of a Marvel fan, because the DC movies are just terrible in comparison. So you're not fleshing anything out. You pretty much are... Batman Assault on Arkham. Yeah, this is amazing. I've watched this movie at least 4 times, and I've loved every time that I've watched it. And damn it, it's not. I think it's Phantom Mask. Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know what the hell's going on. This is another really good Batman one. Mask of the Phantasm. Didn't like the Dark Knight series. I did. But Batman, I think, is a lot easier to write than Superman, because Batman is essentially just a normal dude with a shit ton of money. That's what Batman is. Kind of like Iron Man. He's just a normal dude with a shit ton of money. Only he has that thing in his chest. But I think Batman is a lot more closely relatable, and that's why everybody loves him so much. And he tends to outthink his opponents as opposed to just beating the ever-living crap out of them like Superman or whatever. But they all have their place, and that's why Justice League is kind of cool. But I don't know. I didn't. The thing I will say about Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and then Batman Rises is I did not like how Christian Bale was talking about like throat cancer. Batman was pretty much what he was, and it was stupid. He doesn't need to talk like this all the time. No one cares. You know, Arrow had that thing where he had the little microphone over in his hood that masked his voice. Have him have one of those. You don't have to pretend to do anything funny with your voice. You have enough money, you can do it. You know, whatever. 1 second. Okay, so as I had said before, I have plans with some friends tonight, so apparently that's kicking off sooner than I had thought. And I will have to, end the stream here. For those of you that stopped by, thank you. Thanks for coming out and chatting comics and stuff with me. It's fun times for me. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with something. I don't know. I haven't been able to figure out what yet. Just real quick, check out that awesome pictures and yada. Alright, so that's all I got today. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys another time. Pickle out.